boss till it's time to pay out, you feel me? Till it's time to pay that boss cost. They ain't trying to have them tough conversations. They ain't trying to put in them extra hours, catching that windfall money, dealing with folks not being consistent. Don't get me started on the lack of sleep, but you know what they say.
Boss Life, BOSSFEST, Bossfest podcast. Each and every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, guaranteed to get you right. BOSSFEST, the Bossfest podcast. They might make you laugh, make you mad, make you cry. Either way it go, it's a vibe. Tune in, catch the topic, get the tea. Ain't no shallow waters over here, we get deep. You sensitive, easy to offend, you need to flee. But them tough conversations gonna be happening. Bossfest podcast, they hold it down. Wednesday, 7 Eastern, man, it's going down. Tell a friend to tell a friend and y'all gather round. Get active in the comments, don't get lost in the crowd.
Hey, what's happening? It's your man DJ Bush. I had to show love to Kevin and Edwina, Bossfest Butlers. Y'all know what time it is. The Bossfest podcast. But you already know what we live in.
Boss Life, BOSSFEST, the Bossfest podcast. Each and every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, guaranteed to get you right. BOSSFEST, the Bossfest podcast. They might make you laugh, make you mad, make you cry. Either way it go, it's a vibe.
Welcome to another Wednesday of the Boss Fest podcast. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope everyone is having a great day. I was looking at my sound guy trying to see, what he was doing. He came with some new cues, and I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? So he was like, and I'm like, I don't know. You want somebody to go faster? So I don't understand.
I
the
would
cues.
like for you to start the show. Like,
But I mean, you know how they be like, or
I'm
something.
supposed to scream across the mic.
You gotta do.
I had a slow, low,
You need
cue
to do
down
YouTube University on what the hand signs mean.
you always
'cause I-
selling out.
Oh
but
my
I'm
gosh.
just saying, you ain't ready. I'm on point. You ain't ready. Thank you, Boss Fest family, for having
Y'all
my
let me know if y'all can hear us good.
They
Y'all
can
know
hear
how
us
my
great.
sound guy is.
These are great
But
mics.
Anyway, I'm Edwina.
I'm the best sound man in the business with that crystal clear, that Aquafina,
Don't nobody even like Aquafina.
that core. Fiji.
Fiji's a good one. Okay, so since
With
you're
that
calling out
Fiji.
brands and like giving people like
With that Fiji clear sound. Yeah.
y'all welcome for the advertising. Y'all shoot us some coins. If this episode blow up, Fiji, shoot us a couple coins. We appreciate it.
Fiji particular about who they want to do business with. I don't know if we'll make it.
Dang.
But we gonna keep hustling though.
Well, anyway, today's episode is I can't support you because my friend don't like you. So I feel like we went kind of dark with this episode choice
How's that gonna be dark?
because I can't support you because my friend don't like you.
I don't necessarily think that's dark. I think that's just sometimes what people do in business. Like if I built a relationship with somebody and I trust who they are as a person and they don't necessarily like you, then it seems almost like why not see what my friend sees in you?
Yeah, but that's the same thing as saying like if you my friend and like you don't like her, then I can't like her. And maybe your reasoning for not liking her is very petty or like trivial, and she didn't do nothing to me. So why I can't like her because you don't like her?
Because that's what friendships is. The question is, are we going to allow that to impact business?
But I mean, based on what you just said, then the answer would be yes. Yes, it impacts business.
If you feel like it's your true friend, then maybe my friend sees something in you that I should be curious of. Or maybe a better question is, if a friend doesn't like you, would you even want to do business with that friend anyway? They have similar tendencies and traits.
Hey, wait a minute, because if my friend do it, then I gotta do it.
I'm not saying that's the law. I'm just stating that
It sounds like you was from my friend a hoe. I'm just automatically a hoe.
you associate with hoes.
But associating with hoes is different than being a hoe. What you're saying is, if my friend do it, then I do it.
Friends sell drug, and I hang it out with my friends that want to be associated as a drug dealer. Yes or no?
I don't think you have to be. Like, you could know a few drug dealers and not sell drugs.
You said no. I said hang out, my friend, associate, which means if I'm always with this person and this person is known for selling illegal narcotics, we use the fancy terms. Then
You already said drugs.
I know, I'm trying to elevate myself. Let me elevate.
Okay, you might as well just say cocaine at this point or something. I don't know.
You got that booger sugar, and listen, and I'm always with the person who's selling that booger sugar, then be a booger sugar salesman. See it, or people should see it.
It's not making sense to me.
Go ahead, continue with your points that don't make no sense to me either.
Dang, that's what you had to do?
I'm sorry. I love you.
What my question really is why, because I associate with someone, do I have to be exactly like that person?
I don't think you have to be like that person. I think y'all have similarities. That's why y'all attract, or why people attract, because there are those similarities.
I think that I could be attracted to a wide array of people. And what is really cool about some of the, let's say, business friend groups that I have is that we think very differently. If everyone in my circle is going to think exactly like me, what benefit are you adding to me? Like, I need someone that says, what about this? Or your idea ain't great. But if we're all like aligned, then all I got is a whole bunch of yes sirs around me. Yeah, that's a great idea, girl. You killed it. And I'm not doing anything.
I hear what you're saying, but what you're trying to define it as is that if all of us are saying the same thing, but that's normally in not business space. When we doing different things in that space, everybody has what they're bringing to the table, and y'all develop a friendship based off of what everybody brings to the table. I thought this is more than sitting around. This is my friend. It's been my ride or die, my number one, my day one, and they don't like me, so I don't like.
I mean, we could take it to that route. I thought you were kind of just branching off, which is why I said that.
You can go both routes.
But if it's my ride or die, so I'll just use it. I'm gonna take business out of it for a second.
Okay.
Let's say I have a ride or die friend and they don't like you for some reason. And the first thing that I would do is ask that friend, like, what are the reasons why you don't like this person? Okay. My friend would say, I don't like them for X, Y, and Z. That allows me to then process that information. And those facts would have to be so substantial that makes me say, I don't want to be around that person either. But typically the way I operate is my friend says X, Y, and Z, and I say, okay, not that I'm going to completely exile that person, but I'm just going to proceed with caution based on what my friend said. Because I like to make my own decisions about people in situations. I don't go off what other people said because I feel like your encounter with them could be completely different than my encounter with them.
So run that back one more time. So
I think I said a lot of words.
I know. I want to make sure I touch on the points correctly. Sometimes I get lost in thought. Like, you had a lot of different things, and I had like.
So you just sitting over here daydreaming while I'm dropping facts, and you just la 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 la.
You saw me staring in the camera, right? I was like,
I don't know what you're doing, bro. Obviously, you wasn't listening to the amazing information that I was talking about.
Oh
man. For the people that can't follow in the room, let me bring it back.
She going after y'all now. I was following.
Okay, so let me run it back. And basically what I was saying, in a friendship that I have, if my friend says, hey, I don't like Sally, and Sally's the made up name, I don't want y'all searching for a Sally. And she says, I don't like Sally because Sally did X, Y, Z to me. I process that information and I say, I don't know how that really equates to what my relationship with Sally will be. So I may proceed with caution, but I may not completely say I don't mess with Sally based on this.
All right. So if Sally is doing something, has a business, throwing an event, I don't know, something that you like, ooh, that might be of service to me. My friend don't mess with Sally, since we have now given a name to this.
Mm-hmm.
You're still like, hey, I may still do business with Sally, even though my friend might say, oh, I wouldn't do business with Sally because last time I did business, they had me bad business. They didn't really define it, but they did bad business. You kind of use that as a cautionary tale, like, all right, man, if my friend said it was bad business, then I ain't gonna do it. Right?
No. So
No.
no, I don't think it's a cut and dry answer. And the reason why I say that, there's a couple different things. Like I have to look at all the, like, I guess pieces of the puzzle. I can't just give it a yes or no. Could Sally have just been starting her business and maybe didn't know when my friend, interacted with Sally, and now I'm interacting with Sally a few years later. So she's, past those beginning stages and has the knowledge now. So I feel more comfortable with doing business with Sally. I just think there's a lot of different pieces to that puzzle to just be cut and dry. I'm typically a person where someone can tell me, as bad as this may sound, like, hey man, there's a cliff. If you keep going straight, there's a cliff right there and you're gonna drive straight off. And there's no signs, there's no nothing, just what this person said. I am not the person that is going to turn around and be like, so and so said there's a cliff. I'm gonna keep driving because I need to see the cliff for myself.
So we need to die because you didn't see no signs that said death ahead. So if anybody know, if I go off a cliff and she lives, it's because there was no signs on the road, even though the dude at the gas station at the end of the corner said, hey, don't go there where it's a cliff. And she's like, no, we got to see for ourselves.
I try to stop before I go off the cliff, but so that's a moment of transparency for me. Like people try to tell you different things, and maybe it's just because I'm not that trusting in people, but I have to see that
so
for myself.
You don't trust your friend?
I'm not saying that I don't trust my friend. I trust that to be her experience. So whatever my friend's experience is, I believe what she's bringing me is information as she knows it. I don't necessarily know if that's going to be 100% what my interaction or my experience would be. So like I've had instances with people where I've done business with them, let's say, and my interactions with them have not gone as great. But when someone says, hey, so and so did this for me and it was great, I don't say anything because your experience with that person is yours and my experience with them is mine. So if you don't directly come out and ask me like, hey, what did you think about this experience? I'm not going to share that because we all have different interactions with different people.
Fair enough, but that's based off of two different people, or you and your friend have already used these services. What we're talking about is that, hey, your friend has used this service or know this person or know the history of this person. And before you even had a chance to figure it out for yourself, they have now said, hey, such and such, I wouldn't deal with them. Bad business, bad people, bad whatever, just bad. And because of that, you now take that information and you make it law within yourself. You say, man, you know what? My friend said this person is bad. Now, in my mind, this person is forever bad. And now you regurgitate that same information to anyone else who may ask about this person or their brand or their business moving forward, right? Isn't that typically how it works?
No, I mean, you're trying to make me change my answer. You could say it, the sky is blue. Like you just keep trying to change the wording to make the answer change. For me, it's different. Do I believe most people operate that way? Yes. I'm just telling you, I'm not that person.
You always don't operate the way normal people operate. What is you, an alien? Like every time we get on the podcast, like you have an exception to the rule every time. Nobody else has came across yet. Like, how do we get your third eye? That's all I'm saying. How do we?
Okay, so let me ask you, we're going to put it back on you. In this same particular situation,
Okay,
you have a friend that says, hey, don't use this person's services because they don't deliver on the product. So now I'm like very specific with that.
Right.
You cross that person's path, they start talking about the services they could offer, and it seems like really good. And if you hadn't heard that from your friend, you would definitely do it. Knowing what your friend said, would you not do it?
It depends on how bad I need the service. So if it's something that seems like it's within a reasonable price, this person has a history of doing it and has generated some results, then I may take it as it might have been a bad opportunity. I don't know what stipulations my friend might have helped create, might have helped make the situation not be as favorable for them. But for me, I'm always going to take a second look and like, all right.
Wait a minute, did you just try to make yourself be exceptional?
No, I'm not being exceptional. What I'm saying is that I don't just sit there and say, I don't follow my friends. If my friends say somebody did bad business, I'm like, okay, they did bad business. I might ask my friend questions and I'll be like, hey, why did this person do bad business? Well, they did this, this, and this. And I may challenge my friend first before I just dismiss somebody who I don't know. Because if I know some of my friends and their mannerisms, I'm like, hey, but you kind of get a particular way. I just want to make sure if you're telling me this is bad business, then I won't go down that path and I'll follow that. But I think I owe anyone who I feel like I might be interested in doing any type of thing with a certain level of scrutiny to people who try to slander them or devalue their brand. Especially if they're doing it consistently enough, and they're
you're an alien,
and they're still going. I am a Martian
because
I am a Martian.
You took exactly what I said. And
no, I made mine sexy. I don't know what you did. Mine was sexy.
You said exactly what I said.
Mine was sexy. What I said was, I'm challenging my friend. You said, I'm still gonna do business with this person, even though my friend said no. Difference. There's a difference there. I need you to understand my difference.
Whatever. So I guess what I'm going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb. I think that I see this personally more in women. I don't want to just like.
Are you categorizing women?
A little bit. So that's what I was about to say. Like, I don't want to just
categorize
throw
women.
us into a box, but I definitely feel like because women are more cliquish, you know what I'm saying?
Women are more cliquish.
And then it's kind of like I don't like her, or like this didn't go well, so whatever. And then women also feel more hurt. So if like you're my friend and you do business with this person, then I feel somehow like personally attacked because you did. It's like you went against me. So that's why I say I feel this like I can't support you because my friend don't like you more in women. I think men can probably move past it, but for women it's a bigger issue.
So do you think it's something that women need to recognize within themselves?
I mean, I think if they could, they should. I think it goes deeper than business relationships. It's probably in friendships and, everything else. Because I've been in those type of situations when you're talking about friendship and it's like, man, this person hurt me because of this. I'm not their friend. I don't want you to be their friend either.
So women don't know how to separate business personal?
No, so what I was saying is just if you take the business out, I've seen it happen in just friendships where like there could be a group of women and someone falls out with someone else. And it's like, because I don't like this person, now you can't like this person. And then it's a whole group of women that don't like the one person, but the other people don't even know why. It's just because of the one. It's getting kind of confusing, but you understand what I'm saying?
No, I get exactly what you're saying. What you're saying is the most popular one opinion wins.
Basically.
So if you aren't,
and we don't want to go against the grain, right?
So if you're not the one popular friend, then you don't want to anger.
Right. Yeah. So like I've been a part of situations, and I know you've watched them happen. So I can go back many years. I will tell. So many years. We were about to get married. So in this particular situation, it was a falling out, and it's been so many years. I don't really even know why, but
you know why. You know why.
Let's move on. There was a falling out.
Why?
And
nope, you gotta give detail. Why you don't get it? It was many years ago. And if you don't talk to these people no more, what does it matter? Give details.
I don't talk to them, but if you know why, then you say why.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut your story off, but I will add my points in.
Okay, so I really don't know why. What I felt like, because I have to say in these stories. This is my viewpoint of the story,
Mhm.
because stories have different viewpoints. In my viewpoint, I felt like this person wasn't being supportive to me. I don't even understand what was the other piece of the viewpoint. I was just trying to get understanding. The point of it is that we were at like a standstill, so we were like bumping heads, and I wasn't getting any communication from this one person. But in this friend group, it was apparent that everyone else knew what the issue was, but no one was telling me what the issue was. So when I was like, well, if someone expresses it, because then we can resolve it, all hell broke loose. And then in that friend group, everyone was like, well, hey, this was my friend.
Before you?
Right, before you.
Mm-hmm. Gonna do something else. Keep talking.
I need you to back it up. Can you pause it?
All right, so, well, no. So let me interject right now. That situation was completely crazy, and I think that was more rooted in jealousy than anything than about a particular, friendship thing. And I guess that is the kind of the wicked side of, I don't even want to say women, but maybe it is. It's because you was moving in a place that was different than where your friend could move at the time. Because you was doing things differently. I think you also started calling out some of their, I won't call them negative behaviors, but more or less some of their, I don't know, it was just, I don't know, they was just enjoying their
I was gonna
lives.
say, are you gonna form a thought? Like,
I'm trying to form the thought without it being just crazy, but I'll just say it. They was out there living their best life, and you was trying to settle into the life that we have built now. And this was before we got married, so we was in the process of,
I don't think any of that has really anything to do with the story. So yes, jealousy, you hitting on jealousy plays a big
it has
piece.
everything to do with the story. It's your story. You
It's
just
my story, but you're adding extra layers to the story. So let me not say it doesn't have anything to do with the story. I don't think it has anything to do with the topic.
okay.
But
Go ahead.
that important piece to take away is that it could be jealousy. And in this thing where I can't support my friend because like the friend don't, I mean, I can't support you because my friend don't like you. I don't know if the friend doesn't like that person because they're jealous. That jealousy could be rooted in that. So that's also another reason why, like, do you really know? Because people are jealous of people for all sorts of different reasons. And someone can be jealous of someone you never even know. Support comes in like all kind of crazy forms. Like people could be jealous of you for that reason. What I'm saying though is you bringing up the fact that you think that person had some type of underlying jealousy is important key to this, because a lot of times women may not like you just because they're jealous, or like they perceive something of you and may not like you.
Okay, I know you can't give a true answer to this, but this is just, can you provide your opinion?
Okay.
Do you still think, even though that has been over a decade and some change, do you still think that individual will speak negatively about you or your business or your brand if someone were to ask them about you?
Yes.
No hesitation.
Did you think I was going to say something different?
I don't know. I knew it was an opinion. It's not like we can prove it or not.
No, I can't prove it because people don't admit when they're wrong. So the biggest thing in any type of situation is it's hard for someone to say, hey, I may have had a preconceived notion of this person and I'm wrong. Or in this situation, I was wrong. And that person is probably owed an apology. People will end friendships and not talk to people for years, even though deep down inside they know they were dead ass wrong. People don't admit it. So do I think if someone ever asked, hey, so and so, this was broken up, but these were the reasons. Do you feel like, like you could have mended that with that person? I think they would be like, nah, if that be, because that's the safer answer to be like, instead of I threw something away that could have had value, to still hold on and harbor some angry feelings behind it. So I think they would definitely still talk crap.
I just, Why keep that energy? I'm saying, so let's try it this way. Would you do that to them?
Would I talk crap about them?
No. If someone, let's say they were doing something, whether business, anything, and someone asked about something that they were doing. Let's say they was just putting together an event, something in the community, whatever. Hey, I seen such and such was doing this. Or do you know them? Would you be like?
My answer would actually be, I don't know them. I don't feel like I know them anymore. I don't have anything to comment on them. How long ago did you say it was?
I said it was a decade and some change. You don't like to give exact dates because you know you still
30.
Yeah, because you still 30.
Yes, I'm still 30. Make sure you put that understanding out there. I think once time, so we're talking about something that was so long ago. I don't think the individual I knew then would be the individual now. I think people grow, but my answer would just be if someone said something about it, I don't know who that is.
But according to you, you still think that that person would still keep the same energy about you, so they didn't grow.
But you're asking now from my perception,
I
my
am.
perspective. I'm giving you the answer. So do I think they would have grown? No. But do I have any value to add to like, oh, no, I don't do, because that situation for me wasn't coming from a negative place. I was coming from a place of understanding. So I never had like oh, I don't like her for so-and-so reason. And if you ask me if I know them, no, they don't have access to the person that I am today and vice versa. So my answer still is, nah, I don't know them. I don't have anything to add.
Gotcha.
Now, if you ask me about a situation that happened to me more recently, then I probably would have something to add to that.
The situation happened more recently?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the answer to that is yes. But what I'm saying is if the situation has now been, let's say in the last like year or whatever, then my answer to that question would be different. It would be, hey, like, I don't know what your dealings is with this person. For me, it didn't work out, you know, and maybe depending on how our conversation goes, I may add like how it didn't work out. A lot of times for me, it's not like, I don't think you should not do business with this person because of that, but this is my experience with this. And again, I always think people's experiences can be different.
So I'm not gonna deal with you because my friend not gonna deal with you. That's the topic of this of the conversation for tonight. So I know we kind of play around with business space, but a lot of people
I'm playing it. I'm for real about business.
No.
space. Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that we playing in business space. I'm saying like with this topic, you know, we've been kind of injecting more of the business persona of it, but a lot of the people that watch our show, they're not always in business. So on that personal side,
I think we've gone both ways, but okay.
we have. But let's go deep on the personal side.
Okay.
So do you think that the reason why women, because you put it out there, we as men are perfect. We don't.
Can you ask the question?
I want to praise us men here for a second. Let me praise
My
us.
God, I want the question.
Y'all don't give us our flowers when we need them. So I'm just trying to give it up to men for being great, awesome. You know, hashtag black men don't
I'm
cheat.
taking it.
Don't take a nap. We're great.
What does black men don't cheat have to do with anything with what we're talking about?
I don't
Ask
know.
the question.
I'm gonna inject that any chance I get, man. Black men don't cheat.
Are you trying to prove it to yourself? Can you ask the question?
All right. Yeah. So, from a personal standpoint, what do you think it would take for that relationship to something like that? If someone said, "Hey, I don't do business with this person here. I don't mess with this person because of whatever personal reason." Would you challenge it anyway?
I'm so confused at the question. It took so long to get to the question. I don't even know what the question is.
Let me try this. Let me try this better. Can I try it better?
Please.
Can I try again?
Please.
All right. Let me think on this for a second. When I had it in my mind, it was grounded.
Oh,
Then I
Lord.
started talking about black men don't cheat. I lost my thought.
See, because they had no place in this conversation whatsoever.
My bad. So, do you believe that those relationships can be mended?
You mean like if there's, I don't know, what relationships are you talking about?
Those personal relationships that stop you from doing business with somebody or listening to someone say they won't do business with someone else.
I'm confused.
Still confused?
Yep.
Try this again. See, that's
Like,
why
are y'all confused too? Because I'm like,
They
you know,
might
I
be
want to answer the
confused.
question, but
they
Lord.
they might be confused. I'm not saying I get it right. I'm only
All right, let's
saying,
try again. Let me help you out. Let's write it down.
let's write it down. So you don't get that
I'm
damn
a-
pen away from me.
I'm like, yeah, everyone wants somebody to be like, man, if you don't spit it out, golly.
I'm over it. God dang. I'll think of my question. I'll think of a better question.
Write it down, baby.
I will.
You gotta write it down, take a picture, do
I'm
something.
gonna write
I
it
don't
down
understand
because
what-
I had it in
what
my.
you're
I had the
talking
thought in
about.
my head and it disappeared.
So I can say, if you want to go more on a personal level, for me, personal situations when I'm done and I'm just, you know, like just being final with this. If I'm done with a friendship or an individual, I am done. I don't typically like spin the block and come back. That's not the type of individual I am. Like once I'm done, it's because I felt like I've given you so many chances. So if you're asking me on a personal level, I would never stop my friend from supporting or being a friend of someone else, but I won't ever spin the block and be like, hey, I know we fell out, but let's be friends again. Or if someone else approached me and was like, hey, I think we can work this out and be friends. I'm like, nah, I was done with you for a reason, but I'm not gonna stop my friend from, you know, having a relationship.
Do
with you.
people know that they were given multiple chances? You say,
I don't care if they know or not.
you don't think that's important?
For them to know, oh, so I should do them like children, like, this is chance number one.
No, what I'm saying is that sometimes people don't realize they made mistakes. And what we do is instead of just saying something, we hold on to them until they pile up and then we just allow it to explode. So my question is, do people even sometimes realize that they caused you a disservice or created a situation because they're still operating in normal space? And I think that's what happens a lot of time in business and in friendships. Like people are just operating in their normal space, but you're keeping a tally. Man,
I like keeping a tally. You're making it seem like when I meet somebody, I'd be like, oh shoot, that number one for you.
Yes,
That's not what happens. But
if the bridge just burnt down, you ain't spinning the block. Like
right, but there are definitely checkpoints in most relationships where you can know that both parties are not aligned.
do those people know? That's what I'm asking. Do you
I
think?
heard what you were asking. I think they know.
Do you tell it, or you just think they know?
Both.
People don't know.
It depends on the situation.
People don't know if you don't tell them.
So I'm going to use our situation, like our
Okay.
relationship, as an example.
Oh shit!
If something is not right in our relationship, do you know?
Not all the time.
In those times where you don't know, why not?
It could be various reasons. Maybe I don't care to know.
But that's your fault.
Okay. Maybe I don't care to know. Maybe I don't think it was a real reason that I should care at all.
Still your fault.
No, not necessarily my fault, but some like we all come from different walks of life, and certain experiences mold us to be certain ways. So if you don't explain why that bothered you to the extent that it did, I may not ever understand. But I also got to be open enough to embrace what it is you're saying, absorb it, maybe not even understand it, but at least give it some type of credence, so that way we can move forward.
I think what you're trying to project onto me is that I'm not a good communicator, and I want to dispute that. So that's why I asked you that.
Dispute if you must.
Because I feel like that's like you're asking me, do people know if I have an issue?
I don't
And
think
I
people
think
know.
they do.
I don't think they know.
So I feel like it may not be that I'm outward, like, hey, I have a problem with what you did, but like, hey, I don't agree with this particular action. And I'm very vocal with those things. And I don't come off rude and nasty. I do, however, express how I feel.
I think you say it in a way, but you don't express that it really did bother. So
If I said it, it bothered me.
no, because sometimes you can say something and you'd be like, all right, it is what it is. I'm gonna move on. Like there's been several situations where I've seen you say something that I know that you disliked or disapproved of,
Do tell.
and I know it bothered you.
Just like you said, look, tell me about it.
Okay, so you shut.
Are you sure? I don't know what it is. How am I supposed to say I'm
All right, so on
Man,
your so,
is he
so
slow?
so on your previous podcast,
You always referring to his previous podcast.
It's the most recent thing I can speak towards where it ain't about us. We talk about us 85% of the time. So at least that I can give an example that ain't gratuitous to me. Like
you live in this previous podcast. Let's go in the previous podcast.
Because in the previous podcast, I was in the background watching. So I wasn't speaking, wasn't allowed to speak, but I could see things.
You wasn't allowed to speak.
I wasn't allowed to speak.
Okay, go ahead.
But I could tell like from seating arrangements, right? I could tell that bothered you. But everybody was fixated on, I'm gonna sit here, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna do this, and they don't got like they was, and you was like, man, I just doesn't like this arrangement doesn't work for me. And you said it, but it was almost saying like, not like to take me serious, but like I just need
no. So I think what you were able to encounter was one conversation possibly about that. But since you brought that up, that conversation was had about 4 times about the seating arrangement. I think we finally ended just, to, I guess, cover that piece. If I bring up something multiple times, I think it should be, and I'm just going to say assumed, but you can basically just count like someone has an issue. Someone has an issue with something. If they bring it up to you more than once, you should think there may be an issue here. But nonetheless, at least 4 times, this was a conversation brought up almost, to the fact where we had a meeting to run the camera and be like, now look at how you look right here, to try to sell me on the fact, God, dog, I thought I was killed. To sell me on the fact of you should be okay with this particular arrangement, which I still wasn't. So what I said was, I'm going to let it go. And the only reason why I let it go is because you were like, hey, I have a solve for it. So I don't think your example is a really good example. But do I personally believe that everyone associated with that knew I had an issue? 100%.
So that was one of those strikes where I feel a certain type of way something and people disregarded my feelings. So I've already kind of started placing you in a position of you don't really care about me or how I perceive things. So I just need to go ahead and distance myself from you, and I ain't circling back.
Yeah.
You gonna circle back? You ain't gonna block with me?
No, if this ends, there's no circle to block.
Supposed to be some circle back sex, no?
But so I guess for that particular thing, that's a good example of me saying, like, I feel like I've given you chances, but I'm still not a person. So in that situation, that's dead. I still would not be like, oh, you shouldn't do business with so and so and so because something didn't work out with me. Whatever happened was completely different than why somebody might do business with someone. Like, everyone brought their own thing to the table. Everyone handles their own business greatly. It was just the come together that wasn't there. But I wouldn't stop my friend from like, oh man, you can't go here because, I don't have that connection. By all means. So I'm just confirming that I'm still not that individual that would be like, you can't support, because I don't like that person, so you can't do it. That's just not who I am. But I'm gonna go deeper. So we just had a event. We just did Bossfest. It happened early October. So do you feel like some people weren't able to get in the room because of certain feelings, maybe behind business or personal?
Yeah, I think a lot of people slept on it due to multiple things. And I didn't realize how bad it really played out until, like, you start talking to other people around the events and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those things that was kind of weird to me. Like, hey, I'm not going to do your event, or I don't really want to be a part of it because you got this person on a panel, or you got these people in the background helping.
Oh, I'm very intrigued. So I don't know if I got wind of these conversations.
No, I'm not going deep because I still need Bossfest 2024 to be successful. And I may need some of these people. So
you don't have to say any names, but what I want to do is just dive deeper into that conversation that you're saying.
Okay.
So let's say, for instance, there's a person that was speaking on a panel and someone else was like, I can't buy a ticket to this event because you had so-and-so on a panel.
Yep.
That's very interesting to me. So I didn't know that was a thing, which is why I'm very intrigued by this. So where are you getting these sources of information from?
So as we start to grow and expand our brand, people are starting to recognize us a little bit more, especially with us doing the podcast. And I like the energy of Boss Fest is still contagious to people, especially in this type of area. It's not like we in the some huge metropolitan area where there's 1 million plus people in there, but it's definitely one of those things where a lot of people are trying to figure out, how do I niche down? How do I get involved with certain groups of people?
So I haven't had like more people notice me or see me. So I think maybe because it's the man aspect of things, maybe people are approaching you more. But so because they know you and they see you or recognize you, what is that changing?
I think it's changing the energy around the event. That's number one. So I think people may now push past some of that. I'm not going to do it because I don't deal with such and such stuff. But it is a reality that, you know, people don't want to do business with certain people, whether for personal reasons, business reasons, whatever. Maybe it's just a jealousy thing. I don't want to support
Well,
something.
how did you find out? So that's what you were saying, is that you were recognized more.
Right. So people are having conversations with me about the Boss Fest event. And the first thing, you know, I'm always asking is like, man, why didn't you get in the room?
Okay, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
So that's key to me. So if someone said, oh man, Boss Fest this, Boss Fest that, man, I'm looking at the content, man, and they hit you with a, man, I should have been in the room. I asked, why wasn't you?
Okay.
And some of them be like, man, you know, I had something pre-planned or something like that, or something came up. I'm definitely gonna be in the room next year. You know, I kind of look at them like, okay, if you do, you don't, that don't fit me. But every now and then you catch one, I'm gonna say 2 people.
Okay, so there's a total of 2 people.
There's a total. Instead of me thinking that's a whole group of people.
Yeah,
Two
I
people.
thought it was a whole bunch of
It
people.
was 2 people that expressed that I wanted to attend the event, but the reason why I didn't attend the event because such and such was on the flyer, and I don't deal with such and such.
And these are coming from men?
One's a man, one's a woman.
So I guess for me, because I don't ever not go to an event because somebody's going to be there, like my connections or my whatever, I guess I don't dislike anyone enough to be like, oh my God, like they just don't faze me enough for that. But maybe your blessing or your next connection is in that room, which has nothing to do with the other person. I just am baffled by that information because that's crazy. Like there were so many people in the room that you could be connected to, and one person kept you out of it. I found that amazing. So,
but I think a lot of us are just one person or one thing away from greatness, but we allow it to be that roadblock. So
I mean, I guess that was perfectly said. So yes, you could be one person, one decision away, but in that same saying, you let one person or one decision keep you from what if your connection, your next business partner is in that room, and you let the idea of this one person keep you out of it.
Well, I guess that's just one of those type of decisions people got to live with. But for me, it's just weird for me. I've never been in that space where if I don't like or I see that there's going to be somewhere at the event that I may not necessarily agree with, that I wouldn't attend or something, or I wouldn't do something or do business with somebody because they now associated to something else that could generate income for me or help build me up. It's just weird to me. But I understand as we start playing in these spaces, like some people just don't want to see other people's. It's almost like a support thing. I don't want to see that person be great, so I'm not going to contribute to what that greatness looks like for them. While it may penalize me, it also I also didn't support in that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it any other way either. So I'm going to assume that that's exactly what it is. I don't know how people necessarily are doing business, but like I said, I've even been, I want to say, slighted by some people in business, and I've still gone and done more business with them. Because for me, I'm like, maybe that was a one-off, a bad day. Maybe it was a learning curve. So I try to really give people the benefit of the doubt because I want someone to give me the benefit of the doubt. although I know it doesn't work that way, but that's just kind of what my thinking is behind things.
Okay, so let's say somebody's done good business for you. They turned around and done bad business. Do you now judge them based off of the last experience, or something you remember and you see us else in the community, or do you take, hey man, maybe this was just a one-off situation, and I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt and I'm gonna try it again?
No, it's kind of a blend between the two. So it's almost like in your mind, or in my mind, I write a pros and cons of like the business interactions of this person, and whatever outweighs is kind of how it wins. Because that good interaction they had could have just gone so far, like above and beyond, that it outweighs the negative experience that I experienced with them, and vice versa. People are people. So although they own small businesses, they're still human, and people will have good days and they'll also have bad days. But that's basically just what I do, just a pros and cons list, simply.
I got another question, just because you said something that kind of sparked it. I know it may not necessarily be with the topic, but
No, it's not gonna be with this topic.
don't do that to me.
Okay, go ahead.
You know what? Forget it.
Ask your question.
No, man, you don't value my questions. You don't value my questions.
I value you. Can you ask your question?
No, I forgot it.
I'm gonna have a podcast by myself. This is ridiculous.
What you
Like,
mean?
I just don't even understand at some point. Like, where does God be at?
Be here. What you talking about? Be right here. Just be everywhere.
I'm not only going to start taking applications for a sound guy, I'm also going to start taking applications for a co-host, because I cannot be sitting next to someone every single Wednesday and we just off in la la land. Like, where do he be at?
Be right here. Listen, so all right.
You watching cartoons in your head? I don't understand.
You ain't gonna do that to me.
You basically doing it to yourself.
I guess.
Okay.
So do you even consider that person a friend? Would you consider that person a friend that's telling you not to do business with somebody based off of malice? Or I'm not saying they even had bad business with them, but just because they don't like you, would you consider that person a friend if you know that this connection can help build your brand? You in la la land now?
No, I'm not. I mean, like, the way you asked the question was just so weird. Like, I had to process it. You asked a question from the middle of the question.
Okay, go ahead.
So yes, I would consider the person a friend, even if it was coming from a place of malice, because I think people are human. So, and I would have to understand who my friend is and their mannerisms. So yeah, they would still be my friend regardless. But that's the whole point of vetting what they're saying before I just stand on law. Like, I see certain people that are like, nah, you can't mess with so and so. You know, somebody else said this, and like the somebody else is like so far removed, and I'm like, so what was your interaction with this person? Oh, I don't know. Somebody told me this. So I'm like, somebody told you this. Who told them? Like, it just becomes a whole bunch of hearsay, and I'm like, y'all are hearsaying on somebody's business. Like, I just feel as though we shouldn't do that. Like, actually have your own experiences to stand on if you're going to not do business with a person. And also, if you're going to condemn their business, because we're talking about business in that way, like, have some actual facts, not just so and so told me, who so and so could have told them, and so on and so forth. So, and I have seen that happen. I've even had people come to me and say, somebody said something that you said, and oh, I sided with them. And when I hear the something that they said, I'm like, I never even said this. But
how did that make you feel? Like somebody to say, hey, I heard you and such a person may not be seeing eye to eye.
I didn't even say all that. I said somebody said,
okay, somebody
that
said
I was told something. Because you're adding more to the story.
I'm sorry. Somebody said They were told something.
Just
Go ahead.
you blowing me.
Go ahead. One more time. Go ahead.
I think everybody but you understood it. You just take a nap. Because goodness, I'm saying somebody came to me and said, hey, someone told me so and so, and I kind of sided with, like their side of the story. So it took me like, I guess you say like I was taken aback by it because I'm like, that's not what I was told, or that's not what I said. And now you're presenting it to me as though that was law and you took this other person's side. So I'm not.
Did you tell your side to this person that took somebody else's side?
So I don't know if I spoke on it a little bit because I know like hearing those things is very frustrating, but it wasn't enough to be like, listen, I need you to take my side. Because I definitely feel like once someone says like, hey, I took a person's side, I'm not here to change your mind about it. Like take whatever side you want to take, but it's just those type of things where you hear something come back to you and you're like, whoa, that's not at all what happened. But how many things do you not hear come back to you and people are saying things? So I guess what I would say is, man, sometimes we got to take things with a grain of salt. We're not supporting other people because of X, Y, Z, but are there even facts to stand on? Does your friend have some level of jealousy? Is there maybe some malice in some of this? And I'm not saying, like hate on your friends. People around here have been friends for like years, but sometimes you got to actually like put a thought process.
So that person that brings that information to you about some information that you may or may not have said, do you look at them differently now and how you would do business with them?
I think that all depends on who the person is. So in that particular situation, no, I didn't look at that person differently at all. But I think it's all, you have to understand how people are bringing things to you, because sometimes people bring you the bone to get a reaction, and sometimes people bring you stuff, I will say, like out of love. I didn't look at that person any differently at all, but I think you'd have to just weigh the situation as it happens. A lot of things are situational based, so I can't really say. But for me, I will say, had I listened to someone else about a connection, then I may not have made a great connection in my business or my personal because so-and-so else said, don't do it. I've like, the older I get, I've been like, oh, I don't want to associate myself with, let's say, so-and-so. And then once I do, I'm like, well, dang, why didn't I? Because that's crazy. Like they seem super cool to me. So sometimes you keep yourself from certain blessings because you're thinking that way instead of opening yourself up to get that experience yourself.
What else we got to say on this topic?
I don't know. So I'm just gonna leave you. Listen, y'all. I want y'all to put in the comments. I feel like I led a really great podcast today by myself. So again, if y'all are looking to sit at the boss table with me, because I don't know what's happening on the other side of the table. It's
rough. I be putting it on work. I'm controlling buttons, the sound, making sure stuff.
You got
good.
one button.
I'm trying to make sure stuff good. All you guys do is just talk. You know what? Very judgmental. That's very judgmental. You don't value what I bring to the podcast. I'm starting to become a little bit sad.
Is that number one? Like, are you giving me
This is my first
warning
this is my
before
first.
you leave the podcast?
Don't be putting words in my mouth.
I'm asking
Why I
you.
gotta leave the podcast?
You giving me warnings before you decide that this business arrangement isn't great for you.
Yeah, man. But I'm not leaving. I'm gonna give you your paper.
Oh, I'm gonna leave the podcast?
Hey, bro.
You sitting over there, you can't even form questions. What are you talking about?
If it's me on my own, I get it.
People are going to watch you go,
Make it out with all my and like I says and all of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try not to give him too much, but either
not today.
I mean, I was giving you a lot in that moment, so I'm just gonna back off
like it's been an hour. You've already given me a whole lot. Now you ain't gonna give me something in the last 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying to you.
Excellent.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
And so as we wrap up this topic, I don't know. I don't think it brought any closure to me. I feel like it outed a lot of situations. So now I'm just like thinking of certain situations in my mind. But I guess if I leave the people with something is make a new connection with someone and don't let someone else's opinion of them keep you from making that connection. Stand on faith. You never know what that, new connections will bring as we get ready for 2024. Let's support each other and let's build new connections and collaborate.
I co-sign that. I will say that just speaking of the things we've been able to do the past few weeks, as we get ready to close out 2024, we've been able to build a lot of new connections. Some of these connections were based off of, just opportunities. People saying, hey, get in this room, try this out, look at this person, have you had this conversation? People that we might not even know were doing things in our community, but because we're now opening their door for those opportunities to be fruitful, it's starting to now bless us a little bit. So I co-sign. Get those rooms, take advantage of every opportunity. Even if somebody says something's negative about somebody, you go into it with your own understanding. And if you got to have your guard up a little bit, that's okay. But just missing those opportunities can definitely be detrimental to your growth business.
And then I want to leave you guys with this. Last weekend, we were on the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz live podcast show for her 2-year anniversary.
2-year anniversary.
It was absolutely amazing. So I want to thank Jazzmar for allowing us to borrow her platform.
Thank you, Jazzmar. That was beautiful.
And then I want to thank our special guest, which was Taj Mahal. He really brought some gems and some information to the people in the crowd. So we did this on Saturday. If you were not able to catch the live viewing, because I know there were a lot of events going on 11/11, you can catch the replay on our Facebook page at Bossfest, which hopefully you're on that right now. So just go back to the last post and you can catch that. It definitely was an awesome showing and a ton of people in the room, a ton of podcasts, and I think everyone's doing their thing and gearing up for 2024. So I love to see that. More support, and until next Wednesday.
Till next Wednesday.